This is Your Mother by Unique SKD. Whatever the fuck that means. Chapter 1. The Becoming. The Becoming. The Becoming. Your mother steps quietly towards her bedroom, clean and freshened from her shower. The smell of scented jasmine candles, and rather appropriately for this story, the stench of kinky, sweaty sex of past relationships and one-night stands wafted from your mother's bedroom as she approached a slightly ajar door. Opening the door entirely, she, your mother, slowly reveals one perfect and wholly shaven leg around the corner of the doorframe seductively, before fully entering the room itself. Your mother raises her arms above her head to show off her curves and lower back tattoo of that black guy she likes of the Starsky and Hutch movie, and smiles sultrily as she eyes the two hunkalicious blokes laying in her bed sheets. Well, actually on top of them. And they're not blokes. Well, they are. But not the same species, is what the author is trying to say. Believe it or not, but they're actually two large technicolor horses. Stallions, to be more precise. Why, hello there, reader's mother, says one of the stallions. He's a big white stallion with a shield cutie mark. He has a large, thick, and very, very hard horn poking out from his head. He whips aside his sapphire blue mane with darker shaded streaks in slow motion, his Baywatch level of sexiness making your mother bit her lip in ecstatic anticipation for the fuckfest that is to come. Get it? Come, because they sound the same? Brilliant gag, this, innit? Your mother leaks a little bit of wee-wee juice as the big and strong stallions give her a cheeky waggle up his eyebrows. We shall call this character Shining Armor, because it is Shining Armor. Of course, you saw the character tags for this story and you'd know that already. Hello, boys. Your mother replies, eyeing the two horses up and down, left to right, horizontally and diagonally, obtuse and acute, clockwise and counterclockwise. She lets her arms fall back down to her sides and walks very slowly towards the bed, making sure to take her time to suck my dick. Making sure to take her time so as to pad out the pacing of this Clopfic and make the fucking reader wait patiently for the sexy shenanigans to happen. Just fucking wait, okay, you impatient bastard. The second stallion, a big, beefy, red-coated earth pony motherfucker, appropriate term all things considered, lol, hashtag smiley face, with a short, brilliant orange mane, grinned back at your mother and shuffled from his spot on the bed, gesturing for your mother to come over. Do you think the author likes this joke? And sit between the two stallions. Get that darn fine white honky ass over here, see over here, and that's not a word at all. Get that darn fine whitey honk ass of yours over here, he says playfully, motioning to your mother. What the fucking? He says playfully, motioning to your mother over. His deep, manly, there's that stallionly, voice amps your mother's sexual lust up to 11, and she licks her lips at the thought of taking a bite out of that delicious-looking apple cutie mark he's got on the side of his bum-bum. One of his hooves is patting the spot between him and Shining Armor. The other is massaging his raw, red rocket furiously. That's a code word for cock, I think. Anyway, we'll call this stallion Donut Steel. Actually, we'll call him Big Macintosh, because Donut Steel is a crappy porn star name, now that I think of it. Anyway, your mother smiles as she does what she is told like a good little sex toy she is about to become. Yes, my masters, she says with a sexual moan in her voice. Or it could have been a groan, since she had a bit of a bad back as of lately. So mom's old, then. Your mother makes a mental note to buy some Voltarol cream. What the fuck? Your mother makes a mental note to buy some Voltarol cream to soothe that backache in the morning. Also more milk. Definitely. Need to get some of that too. She takes off her bathrobe slowly, giving a cheeky flash of her shoulders before letting the whole thing slip off of her curvy body and drop to the floor. Underneath the robe is revealed a silky black bra and thong with expertly stitched pattern of silver lacing that she ordered the other week out of the Victoria's Secret catalogue. Page 35, item accessory number 54, if you recall correctly. She does a sexy little pose, showing off her slim and finely toned figure that's a double off, to her stallion playmates before she clambers onto the bed, which causes her to bounce a little due to the mattress being quite springy. Her voluptuous jiggly boobies wibble-wobble a bit from the vibrations, and the sight arouses Shining Armor and Big Macintosh a lot, because their cocks start to lift themselves up and rise semi-erect, like flaccid soldiers being called to attention. The stallions watch with very keen eyes as your mother squeezes herself in between them, sandwiching herself like a curvaceous sausage in a tidily groomed, hairy bread roll until she is nice and cozy. Their furry coats make her feel very warm and increase her horny mood stats by +3 points. She puts her arms around the two stallions and resting her hands on their shoulders. Right. And she looks at both of her lovers, who are looking very eager to start the show. Seriously, they have camcorders, microphones, and studio lights set up and everything. What goes off in the bedroom tonight will be going straight on to Pornhub tomorrow. Your mother gave her consent beforehand, so she knows about it. Don't you worry. Your mother clears her throat before she speaks. So, she begins as she strokes Shining Armor and Big Mac's shoulders gently. Which position do you handsome pony boys want to try out first? Shining Armor and Big Mac rub their chins as they ponder for a couple of moments. Well, what choices are there to pick from the menu? Shining Armor inquires. Your mother taps her cheek in playful thought. Well, let's see what tonight's menu actually offers us, she replies. A holographic drop-down menu suddenly appears in front of them, displaying a list of sexual techniques mostly taken from out of... Displaying a list of sexual techniques mostly taken from out of the Kama Sutra. Whoa! Big Mac whistled. Whistled. I actually said that right. As he watched your mother cycle through the different sexual positions and stances. There sure is a lot of different things we could do to each other. He squints his eyes at one of the images on the screen and quickly pulls back in surprise. Was that one even legal? He wonders aloud. Well, hurry up and pick something already. Shining Armor grunts in sexual frustration as he crossed his forelegs with a frown. My dick is starting to go soft, and the reader's probably getting bored of waiting for the fucking to commence. Fucking. Whatever. Your mother rolls her eyes and crosses off the menu, causing it to disappear into nothingness. Okay. No more fooling around. How about we start things off with a simple bit of wanking and work our way up from there, she suggests to her sexual playpets. Both stallions nod their heads in agreement. Yeah, that works for me. Shining Armor chirps cheerfully as he lifts his weight up. He lifts his weight up and seats himself upright on the bed. Yeah, that's a thing. Sat on his haunches with his massive throbbing horse cock nestled against his stomach. Okay, reader's mother, get those fucking fingers around my fucking dick, you fucking slut. The white stallion orders your mother with a 90s male porn actor tone of voice. Sure. And around mine too, please. Big Mac adds politely as he begins to stroke his member to keep it nice and stiff. Somehow it starts purring like a cat as he does so. why would a cock purr like a cat? That's a fucking riddle you'll never get the answer to. Your mother sits upright and smiles. As you wish, my masters, she says. Your mother reaches out and grabs both stallions' dicks, wrapping her neatly filed fingers around the throbbing, fleshy stalks. Her video gaming nerd instincts overtake her as she randomly reflects on how similar the thickness of their dicks are to that of an old arcade joystick. And she begins to fantasize herself playing on a 90s retro arcade machine, playing Galaga, jerking the two cocks about like analog controls and shaking them all about to avoid being blown up. Your mother's constant pulling and waggling of Shining Armor and Big Mac's cocks causes them to moan from the pleasure they're receiving. Well, that's bad pacing, whatever. It feels like heavenly angels are massaging their squirting sausages, and the service is free of charge. Holy fucking shit, Reader's mother, Shining Armor murmurs in the midst of the handjob pleasuring. Your magic fingers are making my dick happy. Someone's been watching too much hentai. Yup, Big Mac says and nods in agreement. Now I know how carrots must feel like when they're being pulled from the ground with hands. But the best is yet to come. Yeah. For in your mother's weird gaming fantasies, she has spotted a large number of enemies coming her way, and thus she begins to jack off the two stallions' dicks even harder, shifting them left and right and up and down as she attempts to evade the incoming... I'll never get tired of this joke here. Sure. Enemy spice fighters. Enemy spice fighters. She shoots back at her opponents by squeezing her thumbs down the tip of the horse cock controls and rubbing them in circular motions, the loud gasps eliciting from the two stallions, drowning out the sound of exploding space fighters that fall in her imaginary barrage of laser fire. Meanwhile, your mother's forceful pulling and tugging on the stallions' cocks was beginning to drive them bonkers. Bonkers! A tingly sensation was starting to build up in their nutsacks and working its way up their shaft pipes. Reader's mother, Shining Armor grunts intensely, his face steadily turning a shade of red. I'm about to... Big Mac's face was also turning red, although he was already a red color, so it was difficult to tell the difference. But his eyes were closed and he was clenching his teeth together as he felt an intense building in his cock. I'm close to making cake frosting, he growled through his pearly whites. It's pretty nice typing and words and shit. Beads of sweat slithering down his brow. But there's a bit of a problem. As your mother takes down the enemy ships in her delusional fantasy game, she fails to notice how both stallions writhing and shaking in frustration. Her firm grasp around their penises preventing them from releasing the load that they build up from her playful massaging. Shining Armor and Big Mac groan intensely, pounding their hooves into their bed sheets and biting down on their forelegs as their spunk continues to swell in their junk. That's also a sentence. Eventually, Shining Armor manages to break through his euphoria long enough to coherently form words. Celestia, damn it, just let us jizz already, he begs, before another surge of build-up in his cock causes him to spasm and fall over onto his back. Big Mac shakes his head violently, unable to handle the mass of cum, desperately wanting to be ejaculated, yet unable to because your mother's strong grasp is holding it all in. He begins headbanging onto the mattress, spouting Golden Graham's breakfast cereal repeatedly. Well, that's... sure. As tears pour out from his eyes as he too grovels for release. But their pleas fall on deaf ears, because your mother isn't listening. She is too focused on blasting away at that last enemy space vessel. She makes a hard, evasive dodge to the right, avoiding an incoming missile and causing two low sexual moans to cry out. Another missile is heading towards her, so she jerks her dick controls to the right, again avoiding death, and slightly louder pleasured moans to be heard again. She gently tilts the dicks towards herself, aligning her targeting reticule upon her opponent. As soon as she is locked on, she wastes no time, and your mother immediately mashes her thumbs hard on her stallion's cocks. Orgasmic screams ring up in her ears as her missile speeds off towards her target, and it strikes the son of a bitch. She sees an explosion, and her releases your mother. She sees an explosion, and she releases her grip of the cocks to fist the air in celebration of her victory, and attaining a new high score, 69,000 points. At the same time, the accumulation of years that has been tormenting two poor bonies, no longer restrained by her constricting fingers, gushes out from their willies like water from a hose pipe. With mighty bellowing roars, large quantities of Shining Armor's liquid pride and Big Mac's apple juices burst forth from their shafts, and since your mother had their ends in the knobs of the penises and the cocks tilted towards herself, she gets hit by a tidal wave of sticky white goodness, splashing all over her face and getting into her hair. She gasps in shock, and a warm goo snaps her back into reality, and so some of it gets in her mouth, chin, and dribbles down onto her tits and everything. Whatever globs didn't happen to add on to the white layering covering your mother wound up on the bed sheets, and oh my goodness did it look a mess. And oh my goodness did it look a mess. I mean, it's everywhere. It's a fucking massive white mess, I tell you. Like, if your mother employed a house cleaner who came every Friday morning, and that house cleaner saw all of this jizz, the house cleaner would be like, fuck this noise, I quit, and just leave the house entirely. That's how much of a mess the bed looked right now. When the torrent of white wee-wee, really, finally died down, just droplets dripping from the ends of their cocks, Shining Armor and Big Mac took a minute to regain their breath, silently thanking Lauren Faust for her divine mercy, before straightening themselves and looking over at your mother. Your mother sat there, arms out, completely caked in a mass of white. Some of their slimy love mayonnaise drips from her mouth, her cheeks, her hair, practically everywhere. The stallions look at each other and stifle their urges to chuckle at the immature thought of how your mother now looks like a jizz man, which is like a slow man, but consisting of a different white-covered substance. Well, at least you're creative. Half an hour later, after your mother showers off the layers of cock icing, she returns to the bedroom, the bedsheets having kindly been replaced by her stallion lovers. Together they begin to discuss what sexual act to engage in for the next chapter. End of chapter 1. Yay.